In 1980, a killer couple would commit a string of cruel murders against the backdrop of LA's Sunset Strip.
Total disregard for human life. Just the worst of the worst.
Douglas Clark and Carol Bundy would act out their darkest desires and leave a trail of bloodshed in their wake.
They were absolutely the couple from hell, everybody's worst nightmare.
But what had motivated their sickening crimes?
Meet Doug Clark, a man whose life journey is a spine-chilling narrative of international intrigue and unspeakable horrors. From a childhood spent drifting across 37 countries to a disturbing descent into dark fantasies, his story takes you on a chilling odyssey, teaming up with the enigmatic Carol Bundy. They plunge into a jurisdiction of sadistic desires and horrific acts that defy comprehension. With arrests, confessions, and a death shrouded in mystery, this twisted tale invites you to explore the darkest corners of the human psyche. What depths of darkness can the human soul truly reach? And will the secrets of their malevolent partnership ever be fully unraveled? Clark, born in 1948, led a drifting childhood across 37 countries due to his father's work in international naval intelligence. Attending elite schools like the International School of Geneva and later Culver Military Academy, Clark's teenage years took a disturbing turn as he recorded sexual encounters and developed dark fantasies. Graduating in 1967, he joined the U.S. Air Force but was discharged, leading to a decade of drifting through mechanic jobs. In Los Angeles, his career fluctuated from a steam plant operator to a boiler operator at the Jergens soap factory. However, his troubled behavior led to dismissal. Outside work, he was a charmer in bars, leveraging his charisma to make older women for money and lodging, earning the moniker king of one-night stands. At a spot called Little Nashville, he met Carol Bundy in 1979, a nurse and mother who had escaped an abusive marriage. Clark moved in with her on the same day, setting the stage for a chilling partnership. The murders. Bundy and Clark's unsettling relationship delved deep into the sadistic behavior. Their journey into depravity began with luring sex workers to their apartment for a dirty three-way relationship, but it would soon evolve into something far more disturbing. Doug Clark, driven by an insidious fascination, moved from an inappropriate attraction to discussing horrifying acts during sexual encounters. As their evil desires heap on, he successfully persuaded Carol Bundy, his partner in crime, to acquire firearms, enabling them to act out their horrific fantasies. The year 1980 marked a terrifying chapter in their horrific tale. During this time, they came under suspicion in connection with the deaths of at least 7 individuals. Their victims were a mixture of tragedy, ranging from 2 unfortunate women discovered lifeless in a river bottom, to a shriveled teenage prostitute whose young life had been brutally snuffed out. 2 stepsisters met a tragic end at their hands, and 2 more sex workers fell victim to their malevolent desires. Among these ridiculous incidents, one stands out as particularly heinous. Doug Clark's actions reached a horrific climax when he decapitated one of his victims and, chillingly, kept her severed head in the refrigerator for reasons that defy understanding. The depth of depravity displayed in this act was deep, casting a dark shadow over their already threatening activities. The plot took a shocking turn when Carol Bundy, seemingly succumbing to guilt or inner turmoil, confessed to her involvement in the killings of her former lover. This revelation added a new layer of complexity to an already horrific tale, forcing the authorities and the public to confront the disturbing extent of their actions. However, even in the face of mounting evidence and the confession of one of the agents, Doug Clark strongly denied his involvement in many of the crimes. Despite his protest, he was ultimately found guilty, facing the full weight of the law and the consequences of his malevolent actions. Yet, the chilling narrative doesn't end there. Suspicion lingers as there are hints of additional victims, their identities and fates hidden in mystery. Unfortunately, the full extent of their crimes may never be known, as crucial evidence was lost during the trial, leaving unanswered questions and a lingering sense of dread. In this dark and disturbing tale, there are elements of the unknown that intensify the horror. Unidentified victims, such as the Newhall Jane Doe and the Malibu Jane Doe, contribute to a sense of chilling mystery surrounding this story of darkness and violence. The enigmatic nature of these unidentified individuals only deepens the sense of dread and fascination with a narrative that forces us to confront the depths of human depravity. Arrest and conviction. Clark and Bundy found themselves behind bars on August 11, 1980. When they were arrested, the murder weapons were discovered hidden at Clark's workplace. Bundy faced charges for 2 murders, including her confession to being present at Kathy's killing. Clark, on the other hand, was charged with 6 murders. At his trial, Clark took an unusual approach by acting as his own defense guide and trying to pin everything on Bundy, claiming he was manipulated. The jury didn't buy his story, and in 1983, he was sentenced to death. Clark remained on California's death row until his death in 2023 from natural causes. In contrast, Bundy struck a plea deal, offering her evidence in exchange for a sentence of 52 years to life in prison. She passed away in prison from heart failure in 2003 at the age of 61. Clark's legal proceedings were marked by a great drain on public resources, time, and money. California law automatically reviews all death penalty cases, and Clark's sentence was initially upheld, but only after a prolonged and resource-intensive process. During his case, which commenced in 1982, Clark slowly caused delays, complicating and dragging out the legal proceedings to his advantage. He used the court system to his benefit by making numerous demands and employing vulgar language. Despite initial denials, he was eventually granted access to the law library for extended periods, allowing him to represent himself while still having court-appointed advocates. This access enabled him to formulate appeals, demands, and contentions that had to be addressed before the case could reach its conclusion. Death. On a fateful day in October 2023, Doug Clark, the infamous individual tangled in a dark and chilling chapter of crime, took his last breath at the age of 75. His life, marked by a disturbing journey into the hole of sadism and violence, ended in a medical facility, succumbing to unspecified natural causes. This event marked the end of a life filled with heinous acts and a harrowing narrative that had gripped the collective consciousness for years. While his passing may have brought some closure to the countless individuals affected by his actions, it served as a grim reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the human soul. Conclusion. The chilling tale of Doug Clark and Carol Bundy is a haunting reminder of the depths to which human depravity can sink. Their journey from a troubled past to a partnership in sadistic violence is a dark odyssey that leaves us with more questions than answers. The mystery surrounding the true extent of their crimes and the identities of potential hidden victims adds an eerie layer of fascination to this horrifying narrative. As Doug Clark's life came to an end in 2023, it marked the closing journey of a man whose actions cast a long shadow of terror over those who crossed his path. His death, shrouded in unspecified natural causes, brings some closure to the countless individuals affected by his malevolent acts. However, it also serves as a grim reminder that the darkness lurking within the human soul can lead to unimaginable horrors. The enigmatic nature of unidentified victims like the Newhall Jane Doe and the Malibu Jane Doe continues to deepen the sense of dread and fascination surrounding the story of darkness and violence. The haunting questions left unanswered in the wake of their crimes force us to confront the darkest corners of the human psyche, compelling us to never forget the chilling legacy of Doug Clark and Carol Bundy. If you found this video interesting, please show your support with a thumbs up. To stay updated.